In 1973, Troop 61 attended the National Boy Scout Jamboree at Moraine State Park in eastern Pennsylvania. All of our gear and scouts were carried in 2 school buses. This was a great opportunity to meet scouts from across the nation and from around the world. There was a camp-wide game where scouts had to pair up with other scouts to spell the Jamboree slogan, "Growing Together." The U.S. Army built a challenging obstacle course. Our scouts really enjoyed running it, and our troop exhibition included the national debut of Hairy Debris. Once we were home, we spent weeks splicing 8mm film and made an hour-long movie about the Jamboree. Troop 61 first went lone troop camping in 1971 at Jag Lake near Boulder Junction. Each day began with an assembly. In the early 1980s, we started the tradition of a midweek banquet. The highlight of each day has always been the evening campfire. The campfire included skits such as King Doc, air guitar bands, the Wake Up Mummy skit, and the interview of Wally Ballou and Bill Gannon. Our troops commissary began in these 2 wall tents. Each year we had an all-day canoe trip, here down the Manitowish River. Before the development of nylon tents, the junior leaders slept in a compound affectionately known as the Swamp. The summer camp merit badge offerings included cooking, camping, and wilderness survival. Our pioneering projects during the 70s and 80s included rope slides, towers, and obstacle courses. At summer camp, we followed the patrol method, with scouts cooking over wood fires. One year at camp, the troop marched in the Muskie Festival Parade in Boulder Junction, making floats out of canoes. The center of daytime activity at camp was the large program area. Fortunately, it's covered because it usually rained at camp. A few of the JLs made the best use of mud. The waterfront always buzzed with merit badges, free swims, water Olympics, and King of the Raft. One year, we even brought diving equipment to camp. Unfortunately, a few years it rained as we were packing up to head home. And yes, after camp, the Scout House still looks the same. A favorite hike for the Scouts is walking the bluffs at Devil's Lake State Park. A highlight of traveling is taking the Merrimack Ferry across the Wisconsin River. One year we had bus trouble, so a call into AAA and a replacement bus arrived a few hours later. Near Devil's Lake is the Circus World Museum in Baraboo. The Scouts really enjoyed the exhibits and show. Devil's Lake offers a unique natural beauty. The Scouts will always remember the timeless trails of Devil's Lake. At the end of October, we would always camp at Jim Niedhofer's farm in Menomonee Falls. We'll never forget the pump at Nature's Acres, hours of fun making it spray the other Scouts. And how about crossing the bridge with our camping gear? In fact, one year the bridge went out, so Jim Niedhofer hauled our gear over the river and back using his tractor. We got pretty creative with our pioneering projects. Check out the rope bridges and towers. Tom Pelt designed a Rube Goldberg automatic tent putter-upper. Each year we had a Halloween costume contest and a pumpkin carving contest. Troop 61 has a long-standing tradition of the December Christmas party with entertainment and a movie. One year, a magic show included a knife-throwing exhibition followed by sawing a man in half. And of course, a visit from the Man in Red. The longest continuous campout in troop history is winter camp. Until the late 1990s, the Fun Lodge was heated by a huge open fireplace, not a stove. It's called Winter Fun Camp for a reason. We have the annual pajama contests, play games, and have campfire sing-alongs and skits. At winter camp, the adult leaders did all the cooking. all meals were cooked and served in the Fun Lodge. Most years it was cold with plenty of snow and ice. We played hockey, had Klondike sled races, held the Winter Olympics, and even skied. When there was no snow, we still went sledding and found fun games to play. On Saturday nights, Father Joe would drive out to say Mass for us. If you were there in the 70s, you'll never forget how cold it was when the truck wouldn't start, so we had to pull it up the hill. Trading peacefulness for cold, every year a few brave scouts and leaders elect to sleep outside. Another favorite activity is the Saturday night tumbling. Many scouts attended winter camp each year, making it our second most popular campout after summer camp. And after trying to sleep in a cabin with 50-plus scouts, the boys and adults would often head home for some well-deserved rest. A spring tradition for the troop was the Chicago hike. Yes, we hiked in all kinds of weather. We rode the elevated train, toured the fabulous Museum of Science and Industry, and climbed the Sears Tower. Each year the troop participated in various council and district camporees. We had a going-away campout when Doc left to serve in Vietnam. Tom Pelt took over as scoutmaster for several years. The worst campout in troop history took place in 1972. We had 48 hours of continuous rain. It turned our campsite at Wisconsin Avenue Park into a gigantic mud pit. One year we built a rope slide for the entire council, and Jim Niethofer came out and took a ride on it. An annual troop favorite until it closed in the late 1980s was the Marquette Trail near Portage, Wisconsin. The 20-mile hike included single log bridges over rivers and bogs. For most of the 1970s, the troop continued to attend the annual Catholic Scout Retreat. Many weekends in the summer of the 1970s, we would take 10 to 20-mile bike hikes to someplace in Milwaukee. We even incorporated bike hikes into many troop campouts. In 1974, Roman Rank carved the first troop totem pole. Until the late 1970s, the troop would visit the Milwaukee Natatorium to swim on Saturday nights. In 1979, the Scout House was first used as a rifle range. Before there was email and computers, Doc and his staff would publish the Bugle monthly and mail it to all members of the troop. The Scout Circus was replaced by the Scoutorama, held each year at State Fair Park. For much of the 70s, the Harry Debris Anti-Litter program was presented by Troop 61. For much of the 70s and 80s, the older Scouts would travel to the Sylvania Wilderness area in Upper Michigan every Memorial Day weekend for a great time of fishing and canoeing. Our first JL trip was over Easter vacation in 1971. We visited Fort Knox, traveled through the Great Smoky Mountains, and stopped at West Point on our way to Washington, D.C. In 1974, we made our first trip out west to Arches National Park. Our Jeep got stuck in quicksand and had to be pulled out. Later high-adventure trips continued to explore the West with visits to Yellowstone National Park, Mesa Verde, and the mountains of Colorado. In 1975, we rented motorboats and first explored the 186-mile-long Lake Powell. We revisited the area many times over the years. Many of our trips out west included whitewater river rafting. Several times, the troop also traveled to the Boundary Waters canoe area for a week of fishing in the wilderness. Another favorite high-adventure trip was our Florida adventure, sailing off the coast of Miami and snorkeling in Pennicamp State Park. The annual Pancake Breakfast was a troop fundraiser and MGC social event. During the 70s and 80s, we served thousands of pancakes and sausages. Paper and can drives were the primary troop fundraiser during the 70s and 80s. Peltz Brothers would bring gigantic bins and trucks to hold all the paper we collected. One truck was so heavy it literally sank into the parking lot. As an active troop with a great program, Troop 61 helped many scouts achieve the rank of Eagle. To commemorate this accomplishment, we would honor the scouts and present them with a beautiful plaque. The backbone of Troop 61 continued to be an amazing group of adult volunteers who gave their time, talent, and energy to keeping the troop vibrant. They set an excellent example for the scouts, many of whom have seen their own sons enjoy their time in the troop.